I'm going to start off my YouTube intro with this because I feel like YouTube's going to appreciate it. Thank you for the new sub here on Twitch. Dig Bick Dandit. Welcome. Okay, so this is a live game. I think they're about 5 to 10 minutes into the game or whatever, but we're going to cast at normal speed from here. Between two well-known players around the higher level. The Rhythm is one of the many Smurfnicks for Cyclops. And I think if you go back to Age of Empires tournaments from, let's say, 2005, Cyclops was up there. He's one of the better players back then. Left the game for a while and returned. Cyclops is a massive lamer. Okay? Loves to steal your sheep. Loves to steal your boars. Last time I played him, I said something about it, and he said, me like lame. Okay? So you might think, wow, this Clement guy is taking this game awfully seriously. This isn't a tournament. No, Clement just got lamed by Cyclops enough times to know that these are the rules you play with when you're playing the Cyclops. Cyclops, a Turkish player, Clement, a French player who really has improved on DE. I remember he was around 2K before DE came out on Voobly, but getting to this elo means you're approaching the top 100, and Cyclops is actually well into the top 100 on his main account anyways. So we have the Viking player stealing a boar, and that's going to set Cyclops back a little bit here. And actually, I don't think Cyclops might... I don't know if he'll be fully aware of the situation. He was pushing in some deer, which led him to not being near the front of his base. And it really depends on where that boar was. Congratulations, just made to 1500, Joru. Nice. Hey. Good stuff. I love this matchup because it is so even, I feel. Like Franks, I think many people are familiar with how good they are. Vikings, though, with their free wheelbarrow, free handcart, and playing into a lot of archers is really tough to stop. I think the core thing here in this matchup is just how the Frank player is able to utilize mobility. Using knights in siege as well. Siege isn't the strongest, but that can always pressure the Viking eco and take down those archer numbers. So while Clement might want to try and get in and get out real quick and kill some villagers with archers and then boom behind, it is really important that you do have army control against Frank, because good players, they're gonna split up their force against you if you don't have the army to really contest them. Map looks pretty good here for the Frenchman. You know, the gold's solid, the woodline options are solid, even coming back here with the now weak scout after the lame to push in a deer or two. I like the potential for a build-up with a wall here. And I'm curious now what the potential uptime could be for Cyclops. Cyclops lost a boar. I think they only had 3 deer. So I think that he pushed 1. And I think that the forge bonus for Franks is going to help him out a little bit. What you'd want to do is probably 20 population with Franks. Maybe he just has to send... Yeah, he's sending 5 to berries instead of 3 or 4. Oh, never mind. That apparently was not part of the plan. I think he's going to go 21 pop scouts. So it does slow him down to have lost that boar. What's up, Varigal? He says, are there situations / matchups to utilize axe throwers? Definitely. Well, think about how Franks tend to play out, right? You make a lot of knights. If the enemy starts to mix in pikemen, you can mix in some axes. Jack the Red, I actually don't mind this mill. I think most players, including myself, likes to make the mill directly up against the berries. But a common thing when you're up against Vikings is expecting a drush. And so what this means is it's easier for you to wall in your villagers. So you can, in theory, just pull all the villagers into this line, into that tile gap, and go palisade, 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 and you're good. As opposed to having to go for more awkward walls. Is this going to be fast castle here for Clement? He was fairly greedy with his approach, but I guess he didn't want his scout forward because it was weak. He kind of knows where the enemy is, but he doesn't know where the crucial resources are. Look at this. So this drush will be out of position massively, I think. I don't see it hitting the wood lines, and I don't see it hitting the berries if it goes this way. In fact, he could even assume the enemy's over here. So, like, laming is quite strong, but then your scout's weak, and then you don't have scouting intel. Swooshy, did you just resub for 26 months and mistype the emote with your resub message? Now you have to wait a month to be able to get it right again. That's all right. No judgment. Thank you for 26. Hey, by the way, I hope this doesn't bother you guys. I'm sorry about this. You see how the controls are here, like right in your face, and it blocks the Arabia map? I spoke to Capture Age about that. I'm hoping that gets fixed. Before, the controls would only show if I did this, which seemed fine, right? Because it wasn't clutter all the time. So I hope it's not unwatchable, like Crassius is saying. What's up, Cam? Guys, I'm getting online at this time 1 day a week at the start just to test things before I figure out my move situation and all that. It's great to have you here. I'm going to try and incorporate streams where I can catch more of you online because I know time zones are a thing. So, all right, so good job here from Cyclops to react to this. He kind of got a taste of his own medicine in this game by getting lamed. I'm now receiving a phone call. And, okay, I have absolutely no clue who that is. It's probably someone who wants to see if, talk to me about my car's extended warranty. or some other scam or something. But, Stable's going to complete here. All that this rush is really meant to do, and it's not the police. Actually, I don't know. I didn't pick it up. Maybe it is the cops. All this rush is meant to do is buy time. You kill villagers, it's great. But you really just want to buy time. And so what Cyclops needs to do is he needs to try and deny these walls. He's had this scout in feudal age now for over a minute. Or around a minute. And it doesn't look like any of these walls can be denied. So this is fast castle now. And this is a really tough spot to be in if you're Cyclops. Because you lost the boar. He actually had to pull villagers off of berries. So he's going to make scouts now to kill the Dark Age army from the enemy. But we still have to see if Clement's going to have good eco balance behind this. It actually almost looks like he might not quite have the resources to be able to go up to the next age. But that will just depend. The resources are going to rise a little bit as we see the scouts engaging here. I think it'd be really nice to be able to kill Clement's scout because Clement's scout's already weak. And yep, Clement realizes he's going to lose it anyways. And all right. Interesting game so far. Do you guys find yourself up against a lot of fast castles at whatever elo you're at? It is... I'd say it happens maybe 15% of the time at the 2K2 level, in my experience. It tends to be situational. Obviously, behind a lame, it's definitely much stronger because you've just stolen food from them, so they can't do it. But civs like Tatars, maybe Britons, Vikings, Mayans, they do it from time to time. There are quite a few people who only pick Mayans and go fast castle at a high level, which is particularly hard to deal with. Okay, so let's talk about what you do in this situation, all right? You have had your eco upgrades if you're Cyclops. The enemy is now fully walled. You know they're going fast castle. Sucky spot, right? I'm not saying he's going to be able to bail himself out of this spot, but I'm going to talk to you about all the small things you have to do to give yourself an opportunity. Because the reality is, if they don't do damage to you, they are going to be kind of in a rough position in terms of their eco compared to you. Now, Vikings get free wheels, so this is tough. But when you're going fast castle, you can't afford Bidax. You have a lot of farms that are not horse color farms. You're hoping that this does damage here. So, first thing you can do, and he's already kind of doing it, is force some additional idle time. I wish he was attacking a little bit more here. Attack the wall, right? Attack the wall, make him build a house behind it. Attack here. Unless there's army, then you might want to run away. Force a couple villagers off of their resources. The other thing, and this is huge, track this army. You know he has got an archer range. You know he has an archer. He's going to try and send it over to your base. This is awful, and I don't know when he made this, but walling like this seems ridiculous. I think he's trying to wall too much. I actually think you might want to commit to a defensive tower here. He actually is going to sneak and make a tower here, which is very risky, right? The enemy has army. So you know what? I don't hate this as long as he can get a tower on his gold. And then the next thing to bring up is fortify your walls with houses behind. So I think you should delete this palisade and this palisade and go boom, boom, boom with 3 houses. Make sure all this is house walled on the front and then towered here. And you should have enough time. You should get to Castle Age with good eco and you can make knights. That's all you have to do. easy, simple, right? It's not easy, it's not simple, but I hope this is making sense for people who find themselves in these positions. Now, I'm curious about what Clement's gonna do here. Because he could try... Like, now he's lost a wood line. That's his only lumber camp. So that's actually gonna delay things for him. He's gonna have wanted ballistics. He'll have to remake a lumber camp. He might actually go and attack this as opposed to going forward. But you really should, if you're going fast castle, go forward right away. So the Night Mass would come in so late T90 against a player who knows how to use his advantage. The Night, you don't understand what I'm saying. You're buying yourself the proper amount of time to be able to go 2 stable knights against these crossbows. If you go house wall here, and maybe double palisade or something, and you just tower your gold, and you can see clearly with the timing, you're going to be up around 20 minutes. You're going to be able to engage against this. So I actually really like the forward tower ends up working out for him. It also kind of denies the gold for the future. And I kind of like the scout addition as well. Clement just assumes that there's a full wall going on here, so he's going to attack this palisade. So I guess it works out. Yeah, solid macro from Cyclops to be able to get up at around 1915, a little faster than I think I would have, as he's going to pounce with the scouts. Now, I would have dropped the tower here already. That was my concern about the forward tower, but I think Blue's just like, uh-oh. He's going to get light cav, he's going to get armor, and in the end, ends up working out for Cyclops. Okay, chat, so let's talk through, this is what we're doing a lot on this stream today, is kind of breaking down the specifics. Is it a good idea or bad idea for Blue to run back? Yay or nay? Okay, because he might feel like he needs to do damage, right? Chat's a little split on this. So here's the deal. It was a correct move to run forward, but when you have a lowish number of crossbows and you can't get any significant damage in, then you should back up right away. So this is a correct call here. Because the knights / scouts... What did I spill on my desk? Why is my desk moist? Sorry, I got distracted. I think I'm fine. But yeah, so it's a good call to go home. And now you just keep your numbers as high as possible, and then he's going into a boom. So this is a really good game. I think that at lower levels, it's really hard to know what to do in red situation when he got lamed earlier. It's really hard to know what to do defensively to prep for any attacks. I will say one big thing for Blue this entire game was just... He seems to be playing a little bit more towards the power spikes. Like, I'm going to lame and get a lead, then fall back. I'm going to go fast castle and get a lead, then fall back. I think Cyclops overall has got a real good sense of how to handle all these situations. And look at this. That forward villager changing everything. Forward siege workshop. This is what you should be doing against Vikings, right? Free wheelbarrow, now free handcart. You know they're going to be usually playing into town centers. And Clement bringing his crossbows back. So Cyclops all in aggression. Cyclops is really good at the one villager shenanigans. Having played him many times, he's very good at that. But it's very rare I see him on the other end of a lame. He's lamed me so many times. In theory here, you could move around with the scouts and maybe keep the knights next to the mangonels. You are going to want to dive for the enemy's mangonels pretty soon, possibly. But, like, that's in theory. And I think it makes sense to keep your group together. He's trying to manage economy behind this, too. Having 3 armies, essentially, and 3 TCs is just... It's a lot. But he knows now that the enemy's gone for a defensive Maginot. So I think Clement has actually gone for everything that he should do here in terms of his own defensive Maginot and his own monks to get conversions. The problem I have with Clement is just he's now only on 2 TCs, and he's actually losing 2 really crucial areas of his base. Both of his wood lines here are gone, as he's got to go over here. And long-term, he's going to want this area. So he's got to get some good fights here, whether it's with conversions or Maganel shots, and push this back. And he's got the micro. See if he can take out that Maganel. He does. That was really sick archer micro from Clement. My goodness. Actually, use the TC against the Maganel. Good. Oh, that was beautiful. Good work, man. This is a good game. Like, no offense to the 2K players we saw earlier, but 2150, 2K2, that's where it's at, man. Not at all speaking with any bias, considering my elo, but I think a little bit of misclicks there. I saw the villagers move around. Oh, but the split micro, you've got to keep your crossbows together. Your crossbows and your monks have to be close to your mangonels in blue's position. Maybe that was an issue with the gather point. Okay, again, diving through here. He's got some balls, man. And can he get it? Cyclops needs a repair. Boink! Got it. Pretty close game here. Now, what's the issue for Cyclops right now? Or I shouldn't be asking because I'm going to tell you. Cyclops is trying to go 3 TCs with night production. And that's just not possible with 17 on food. So, it's not that 3 TCs is bad because this is forced a reaction. It's just that he can't sustain the night production that he had before. I don't think he's going to complain, though. He might prefer to have the eco over the military because the mangonels are really all he needs right now. As you see the micro and the repairs, and the repair villagers out of the picture now. But what this means is I think Clement is soon, potentially, going to be able to take this area again. Chonk me daddy. Hello. Cyclops is the rhythm. Yeah, I wish, guys, I looked at AOE2.net the other day. 30% of the top 100 are repeat accounts and Smurfs. 30%. Yeah. And that's not even counting the amount of people who have additional accounts that are not quite in the top 100, but they're in like the top 150, 200, 250. There's so many repeat names because people have multiple nicks. And so it can be really confusing for viewers who just aren't familiar with all the names that aren't quite like top 20, top 30. Okay, so I think this has just been a wonderful game here. But the problem I see with Clement is simply the fact that he doesn't quite have the resources to go Imperial. So you're always pushing forward towards Arbalest and doing damage in early imp. Check out what Cyclops is doing. This is a great way to stop someone from pushing out with Arbalest in the future. Dropping castles. So I think his Imperial Age time, considering all the knights he's making, that's probably going to be a bit later than Clement, but getting castles in crucial defensive positions, like here as well, maybe in the castle over here, that's going to mean that Clement's going to need some siege to back it up. Uh-oh, you see the wood being sold. He's definitely thinking about imp. Wasn't really sure where the pressure would come in, so he's bringing his monks and crossbows over this way. Remember, this is an area that eventually Clement will need, but he doesn't need it for now. I'm curious if he sends villas to stone right now. I think he's going to send like 5 villagers to stone and think about a potential castle. Then again, he doesn't necessarily know that he needs it. Right? He doesn't know the castle's there, so he doesn't need to be thinking about trebs. And pulling villagers to gold is just, or stone is just going to pull villagers away from other resources. I do have a second account myself. It's like 2150. It's just really common. What I don't understand is ever having more than 2. Like, my logic is, like, for example, I just hit 2K2, which is my highest rating ever. If I want to play a game or two and I know I'm not really playing well at that time because I had a few beers or I'm just tired, I don't necessarily want to toss away all my hard work just because I want to get a few games in. Or maybe you want to try new stuff or something like that as well. But like Capwatch, for example, has 4 accounts. Why? Why would you need 4 accounts? Huang has 4 accounts. And it's even worse with Huang because he does the same thing every time. It's not like he has a Celts account and a Mongol account and a Spanish account. No, he does the same thing all the time. So yeah, anyways, what I'm circling back to is I think it's probably confusing for you guys. And my apologies if it is. Yo, I will tell you what. The way Cyclops has played this is probably... Well, I actually hate this castle. I think the castle should have been on the hill. But the fact he didn't get chain barding at all in Castle Age, the fact that he just stalled out night production is really smart. Because I think I'm the type of guy who would just want to get chain barding and when I'm against archers all the time. And I think my imp time would be a little later. This is what I said with the castle positions. You're on the clock here with Vikings. You need to make Arbalest with Bracer work and work fast. The stone count's just now climbing, but only with 3 on stone for Clement. So he needs to run around this. And the Frank player, 0 relics collected overall, by the way, is in a position as we see another castle? Okay, half of these castles are good. Why not castle here instead? I think this castle should be here. And I think this castle should be here. And then there's nothing that Arbalest does to you. Except unless it loops all the way around the backside somehow. Now you're going to take damage. Now you could be pushed off gold. So it's just a little weird. Plate barding armor on the way now for Cyclops or the Rhythm. The Cavalier will need to be clicked as well. It takes a long time for those upgrades. So that's why Arbalest has such a time window. Eventually, with Pikemen, I think that Franks could have success here. Or Vikings should have success here because of the Chieftains upgrade. So it gives you extra bonus against Cav. And he's actually thinking about that already, which is interesting. I mean, Elite Berserk is also insane, but you need multiple castles. It's one of the most expensive units to tech switch into, so... Elite Berserk is when... I think you can go Elite Berserks in 1v1s when you're already ahead. That's kind of the way I see it. But in close games, I think it's too risky. Let's see if Clement's able to get conversions with these monks. Because converting 4 knights, or soon-to-be Cav, would be converting 25% of that army right there. Right? Close game here, guys. 170 pop for the Viking player. We know how good the Vikings eco is. We know about their power spikes, but Franks can be nuts too. And Cyclops is just going to forget about this for now. And maybe thinking there's not going to be a whole lot forward. And he would be correct. So he catches out this tech switch a little bit. Weird to me we're seeing a ram right there. I don't think going rams against someone with Cavalier is ever the play. And Cyclops, really good decision. I don't think this was expected. However, the positioning from the Arb's really strong too. Oh, man. Villagers are going to die. I actually don't think losing villagers is a big deal now for Vikings. I think it's more about losing army. Because your army is going to be overall weaker. It's a lower HP unit. You need to mass it all. And he's lost everything at home. What a sick play from Cyclops. He's still just repairing the TC. He's ignoring 35 military units. Look at the army count. It looks good. But no, Cavalier are stronger in lower numbers. And they've got crazy HP. And now you have mobility to deal with. And that is going to win Cyclops the game, I think. That was so smart. And he's going to drop a castle here in case this army advances. Again, I guess you're Franks, so your castles are all cheap. I'm not in love with some of these castle spots. I also wish he would get fletching for his castles at the very least. But my goodness, the damage. Yep, there's fletching now. So there we go. Castles would be more effective. Cyclops is going to win this game. And he's also going to go for a castle forward. Okay. Is this too much? Serious talk. He still has stone in his base. Do you think Frank castles are too cheap? I know you guys love Franks. I know the sub pickers are out there. Or not the sub pickers. Someone said sub in chat. I know the Frank pickers are out there. And I know they're like, don't change it, man. I like the Civ. It's got everything. But the fact that he's able to make this many castles is just insane to me. I personally think it should not be quite as cheap. What's the exact price right now? Like 488 stone? Or 498? I forget the exact price. I think having it be like 550 or 530 or something would be fine. But, you know, people don't want to change a good thing, and I get it. I think we should be buffing civs instead of nerfing overall. And my goodness, dude. This is crazy to me. Such a frustrating feeling if you're Clement. 34 ARBs, and over the last 10 minutes, they killed maybe 3 villagers. That was the army he needed to get the lead with, and it did nothing. Props to Cyclops for the castle spot. Props, can't speak, to Cyclops for recovering from the lane. And really well adjusted there. Prepped for that pressure that could have come in early castle age really well. Got his eco. in shape, and also was able to apply some pressure in Castle Age 2. And that, I hope, maybe, will help some of you guys realize some ways you could maybe apply dealing with the lame and dealing with fast castle on your own time as you play games. I think the big thing here that's tough when someone goes fast castle full wall is you never know how much they're going to invest into the attack, right? So you either make a bunch of army blindly out of fear, or you don't make a bunch of army, and then you die to a bunch of army from them. What Cyclops did was he made, like, I want to say, I think he had he had less than that. He had 10 knights, and he was kind of adjusting on the fly to it. He was adapting, and he saw that there weren't too many crossbows. He knew he wouldn't need to commit that crazy into knights, and just went for some siege. And I think that's what some people lack when the enemy goes full wall in general. Is they're just like, okay, I've got to make stuff. I've got to be ready. But they don't necessarily assess the situation and say, well, he's still at home. Doesn't look like he has ballistics. Doesn't have this. It's real hard to do that. Don't get me wrong. But just something to think about to maybe make your life a little easier. There's the overall KD. Cavalier Rock. 158 kills, 62 losses. And economically, the wood and the gold was there. That's where Vikings normally want to find themselves. But food and stone count was insane for Cyclops, and he would have had full control in that game if it continued. Really good game. Like, the micro from Clement was good. We had players adapting to various things. That was a solid one. How do you deal with mobility as an archer civ? You either force fights that they can't take, in early Castle Age especially, or you sit at home and you wait for imp, and then you force fights. If someone's making knights, they should have a later Imperial Age than you. So it's all about time windows there. Late Castle Age, Archer's a whole lot worse because there's been a lot more time for the knights to mass, and they're going to be a whole lot faster than you.